What's going on, YouTube? Thomas O here. With Netflix's new movie Polar out now on Netflix, since the movie is based on a comic book, now there are lots of now I love Marvel and DC, but it's always nice to see a movie based on a comic book that something separate outside of Marvel and DC. So I decided to do a top 10 list of my 10 favorite comic book movies that aren't Marvel or DC. So, that being said, here's my list. Coming in at number 10 is 300. Now, 300 is directed by Zack Snyder, who directed Batman vs. Superman, Man of Steel, and 300 is a really violent movie, and I mean, it's violent. I mean, of course, it's the film that's takes place in 480 BC and is a state of war exists between Persia, led by King Xerxes, played by Rodrigo Santoro, and at the Battle of Thermopylae. I always mispronounce its name, but anyway, you got Gerard Butler as Leonidas, is the king of the Greek state of Sparta. This is I really dig this movie. The action is cool. Gerard Butler, maybe it's probably one of his best work he's done. Michael Fassbender was in this. He even had Lena Headey way before Game of Thrones. Really good film. And the prequel that got released a few years back was also pretty good too. But if you guys haven't seen 300 yet, give it a go. I think you'll enjoy it. And too bad we never really got a chance to see like an actual sequel, with Gerard Butler back and all. Now, I never really read the comics or anything, so I can't really compare the movie to the comics, but the movie is really good. All right, coming in at number 9 is A History of Violence. Now, this is directed by David Cronenberg, who, of course, did stuff like The Fly and loads of other good stuff. Here's what it's about. When a pair of petty criminals attempt to rob his small town diner, Tom Stahl, played by Viggo Mortensen, quickly and easily kills them both. And in the flush of news coverage of Tom's seemingly heroic actions, a drowning stranger named Carl Fogarty, played by Ed Harris, comes to town and assumes and figuring the unassuming family man as long missing Philadelphia mobster Joey Cusack, and to the horror of his wife, played by Maria Bell, and his teenage son, played by Ashton Holmes, Tom finds he must confront his very violent past. This is definitely one of my favorite Viggo Mortensen films. I mean, right now he's pretty hot now with Green Book, which was, of course, amazing. But I mean, History of Violence is definitely one of my favorite work of his. Maria Bell was incredible in this. I really like David Cronenberg's direction. This movie was also pretty violent too. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen A History of Violence by now, definitely check this one out. I think you'll enjoy it. Coming in at number 8 is Dredd. Now, I'm actually going to go with the Karl Urban one. The Sylvester Stallone one is more of a guilty pleasure of mine. It's not that good of a movie, but it's probably one of my favorite bad movies. But the Karl Urban one is awesome. I mean, this movie is completely violent. It's really fun. Also, Lena Headey is also in this as well. So, Lena Headey is in this list a couple of times. Who doesn't love Lena Headey? I mean, Game of Thrones, that woman's awesome. And Dredd, I mean, Karl Urban, of course, he plays the character who only wears a helmet throughout the whole movie. I mean, you really don't see his face at all. And Karl Urban, I really loved him as Dredd. He played that role just perfectly. Lena Headey was, of course, the good villain. Olivia Dolby was in this. Good cast. And it's such a shame that Lionsgate can't get together and make a sequel. For one, it did flop in the box office, but I mean the movie was really fun, and it's still a shame we still haven't gotten a sequel to this. But I think Netflix or whatever is supposed to be doing like a Dread TV show. Guess that will work. Coming in at number 7 is Kingsman: The Secret Service. Now, I could have also gone with Golden Circuit, which I kind of like more than most people did. But I'm going to go with Secret Service. Now, when they first announced Kingsman, I thought it sounded a little dumb, to be honest with you. But then I saw it, and it blew my mind. I mean, it was directed by Matthew Vaughn, who, of course, did X-Men First Class. And, of course, he did Kick-Ass. So he's no stranger to the comic book genre. But Kingsman Secret Service is a really fun film. I mean, it is completely violent. Oh, that church scene. Who doesn't love that church scene? I mean, come on. Sam Jackson as the villain was pretty cool. Mark Strong was awesome. Oh yeah, Sophia Boutella. I mean, she was awesome in this as well. Colin Firth was good. Really good cast. And yeah, I really simply loved Secret Service. And I'm actually really looking forward for the new Kingsman movie that's set for release this year. It'll be hard to. I mean, it'll be a shame that they're not casting Taron Egerton back, but who knows? Maybe it'll be pretty good. Coming in at number 6 is Hellboy. Now, Ron Perlman as Hellboy was really amazing. He played that like he embodied Hellboy really well. I mean, the makeup they used for him was pretty cool. And of course, it was directed by Guillermo del Toro. Such a fun film. And Golden Army was good too, but I'm actually going to go with the first Hellboy. I mean, it was pretty much my first introduction to Ron Perlman, and I simply love that film. And I'm actually really looking forward for the new Hellboy that's coming out this year with David Harbour. It'll be hard to top Ron Perlman's performance, but I'm sure David Harbour will do just fine. Coming in at number 5 is The Crow. Now, this, of course, starred the late, great Brandon Lee. The Crow is, I guess you could say, is a really cursed movie. Sadly, Brandon Lee passed away on the set of this movie. And sadly, it was Brandon Lee's final feature film, before he passed. Brandon Lee as the Crow is iconic. He played that role just perfectly. The villain in this, I think the actor's name is Michael Wincott, was really good. Alex Proyas did a good job at directing. This is a really fun film. And the sequels that came after this all stunk. I mean, the sequels were all not that good. The first Crow is the best. Now, of course, there's been words about a reboot of The Crow, but God knows if that's ever coming, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, look into the drama of the remake, of the development of the Crow reboot. I'm not going to go into any details of that, but anyway, if we don't get a reboot, it's cool. The original is, still the best. All right, coming in at number 4 is Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Now, this is definitely one of my favorite Edgar Wright movies. Michael Cera is awesome in this. You, of course, had Chris Evans, like a year before he played Captain America. Jason Schwartzman was really good as the villain. You had Brie Larson, way before Captain Marvel. Such a fun movie. I mean, this is, the some of the effects in this thing was pretty cool too. And it's a shame that Edgar Wright and company never went ahead and did a sequel to this, because I would love to have seen another Scott Pilgrim. And Jesus Christ, next year Scott Pilgrim versus the World is going to be 10 years old. Filled yet? But yeah, if you guys never had a chance to check out Scott Pilgrim versus the World, definitely give that one a go. It's a really fun film. Coming in at number 3 is Men in Black. Men in Black is awesome. I mean, Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones was pretty cool. Barry Sonnenfeld directed this. Has some pretty cool effects here. Of course, that pug dog is a scene stealer. Man in Black is just awesome. And the sequence that came after this was pretty cool too. I really dug Man in Black 2 and Man in Black 3. And I'm actually looking forward for the new one with Chris Hemsworth that's coming out this summer. But I mean, if you guys haven't seen the original Man in Black, definitely check it out because it's a really fun film. All right, coming in at number 2 is Sin City. Now, this is based on the comic book by Frank Miller. Sin City is awesome. I mean, I guess you could say it's like an anthology film. And has a good cast. Like, we're talking Mickey Rourke. Who else was? Oh, yeah, Jessica Alba, Elijah Wood. It was directed by Robert Rodriguez. Such a fun film. And the recent prequel that came after this was pretty good, too. But the original is the best. All right, coming in at number 1 for my favorite comic book movie that isn't Marvel or DC. That is The Mask. Who doesn't love The Mask? And I'm talking about the Jim Carrey one. Not to be confused with the Son of the Mask or whatever that thing was called. I'm talking about the awesome Jim Carrey classic. I love The Mask. It's my favorite Jim Carrey movie. It's also my favorite Cameron Diaz movie. Not so long ago, I did my 10 favorite Jim Carrey movie and my 10 favorite Cameron Diaz movie, and The Mask was number 1. It's awesome. It's really fun. It's funny. Jim Carrey was just awesome in this. And a really good villain, too. Can't remember the actor's name who played the villain in this, but he was awesome. I simply love this movie. And I gotta say, I still would love to see a revival of The Mask. Maybe either get Jim Carrey back or a new actor to play the role or something like that. Because The Mask is it's an iconic film. It got released in 1994, and I think it's a film that still holds up today. It's just awesome. I mean, if you guys never seen The Mask for some reason, check it out. I think y'all enjoy it. Yeah, again, who haven't seen The Mask? I mean, let's be for real there. And, to be honest, I always kept forgetting that this movie was based on a comic book, because I was like doing a list when I was making the list, I was Googling films that's based on a comic book, and I saw The Mask on there, and I seriously always keep forgetting that this is based on a comic book, but it's still awesome. All right, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. Number 10, 300. 9, A History of Violence. 8, Dredd. 7, Kingsman: The Secret Service. 6, Hellboy. 5, The Crow. 4, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. 3, Men in Black. 2, Sin City. 1, The Mask. Now, there's loads of other ones I could have added. There's The Rocketeer was good. I was going to say Kick-Ass, but just found out that's actually a Marvel film. I literally never even knew Kick-Ass was a Marvel. I mean, when Kick-Ass starts, you don't really see the Marvel logo. So I didn't really thought that was a Marvel film until someone told me. So okay. Anyway, there's a few other ones I could have added. But let me leave it to you guys. What are some of your favorite comic book movies that aren't Marvel or DC? Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Thomas L. signing off.